Hello, hi. My name is Vijay. So today we are going to talk about YAML. YAML is becoming a famous nowadays for writing the configuration files. So previously we used XMLs and then the property files, and now it's YAML. So now we'll talk about and try to finish the YAML session in 15 minutes. After this session, I am sure you will be able to write the complex YAML configuration files. Now I'm covering all the topics in YAML. Like what is YAML? Scalars in YAML, which is the values. Explicit typing, a data type in YAML. How do we mention that type, data type? Sequences, there are multiple ways of mentioning it. List is called block style, flow style, nested style. Complex keys with question mark space, anchors and aliases, ampersand and star. And last one is override anchor values in alias location for some attributes. Okay. So let's go to the first topic, which is YAML. So YAML is a lightweight, human-readable data serialization language. So the main reason YAML became famous is mainly because of its very lightweight and human-readable. Okay, what is YAML, right? YAML. It's when it came, it's called as yet another markup language, but they realized that it's not a markup language; it's a data serialization language. So we are calling it as YAML and markup language. Okay. So it's a superset of JSON, means YAML has all the features, whatever we can do in JSON, right? Whatever we can write, those things can be written in YAML. Plus, we had as more features, example, comment section. So in YAML, we can be able to mention with hash space and we can put the comments wherever we want to put the comments in the configuration file. Now, quickly just take a look at the samples of XML, JSON, YAML, right? The same thing, how do we mention the three different places, right? Like say XML file, how does it look? Customer details, with the tags, right? You need to have every tag with the parent, child, and even the actual tag should come with the opening tag and the closing tag. That is the XML. In the JSON, it comes with the open bracket or the curly brackets, right? Then the customer details in the double quotes and the key value pairs in the double quotes, space, colons. But if you see the YAML, right? It's YAML, which is looks very user friendly and human readable. Say customer details, I'm having hyphen space, name, value on the, and if you see the again repeated hyphen space, that means it's a different nested tags. So this is the main differences at a high level. Okay. Now let's go. How do we create the ML file, right? Let's see that. So what is the name of the file? So the name of the file starts with dot YAML. So it can be dot YAML or it can be dot YML as well. YML. Okay. As I said, AML is human-friendly readable format and it's heavily used in writing configuration files. Okay, so this file can be written in a Notepad or Notepad++ or Eclipse or Atom tool. So you can use any simple tools, right? And if you are using, I'm using Eclipse heavily because I am from Java background. So it can be you can have like YAML lint plugin, which what it does is like when you start typing in the YAML file, it validates when you start typing in and it gives warnings and errors if there is any mismatches. Okay, and also I heavily suggest the people to check JSON to YAML.com to validate or to the YAML file or the JSON file or the vice versa. Okay. So one important thing with YAML while writing a YAML file, you need to remember that the spacing and indentation is very important in the YAML file because the space key for each space and try to use the space key, not the tab key. Okay. And the second important thing is the YAML is it's a case sensitive. Okay. So YAML was designed to work primarily with the following data types, mappings, sequences, and scalars. So we'll discuss more in the mappings and the sequences in the next slide. So now let's talk about scalars. What is scalar, right? What is scalar? It's a key. Whenever you're typing anything, say let's take an example, right? It's a key value pair. So the value it's called scalar. Okay, so the value will be at the either string or the number, right? It can be any string or number. Scalars are a string, number, boolean as well. Okay, skin number and also null values also can be there. Okay, this is at the what is scalar. So before we go to the next topic, one quick thing is there are like if you see there are three dashes in the. This is an example of the YAML file where we has the key value pair with the colon space. Okay, and this is the nested tags. Okay, so we'll talk about nested tags in the next section, but before that, let's talk about the three dashes in this file, right? What does this mean is, in one file you can have multiple configurations of the multiple different environments. Let's take an example, right? Say if you want to have dev environment configuration file, you will have dev environment, and you have IT environment, you will have a normally you can have separate IT uh, configuration file, and similarly prod configuration file. But here YAML supports all of them in a single file with the mentioning as a three dashes. So when you see the YAML sees these three dashes starting of the file, and see the next again three dashes, it's the end of that file. That means this is a dev, one of the file is dev YAML file, and the next one it starts with the IT. So this is the IT configuration file, host file. Whenever it starts dashes, it takes it as a new configuration file. Okay, so that is one thing in the YAML. Now let me go to the next topic, which is so before you go to the next topic, right, I just want to show you on the JSON to YAML, JSON to sorry, YAML.com. How does it, right? See here you see the simple example I just mentioned, like YAML, where it provides and it converts into JSON and vice versa. So if you are writing any files, right, YAML files, you can validate them in this tool, which is really very useful. Now let me go to the next one. In the YAML, how if you want to mention any data type explicitly, you can do that by showing two exclamation mark and the space. Okay, let me show. Sorry, no space. Let me show an example. Right. See, if I want to mention the first name key and the value should be string, as saying that colon space double exclamation marks and str, and then space the value string value. It considers a string. When YAML reads, right, it considers a string. And again, if you want to mention as a boolean, just say two exclamation marks and bol and int and the timestamp. So make sure you have a space after the colon and also space after the data type. Okay. So in this way, it knows that what is the data type which you are mandating it to. Okay. So it considers it as a on the same data type. So for some reason tomorrow if somebody changes without noticing this, it gives a warning that okay, it's a string, it has to be string value. So if you mention it as a colon str and then you even give like say number 20, it considers as a 20 as a string, but not like a number. If you just mention just 20 without the double exclamation mark str, then it considers as a number. That is the main difference between the data type you mentioning explicitly or not. Okay, so let's see this example as well, right? So that where you can see how the int, boolean, string are mentioned and converted. Now the next topic is on the sequences. So in the sequences we have multiple types. Let's take one is called a list block or the flow style or the nested style. So YAML provides multiple ways where you can mention the sequences. So to show the differences here, see the list. This is how it has hyphen space for the car models. On the same list, say if you want to mention it as a flow style. So this is how the flow style comes with um, open bracket and then the closed bracket with comma separated. You see, when you see, you can see the same, right? There is no difference. But the only thing how you mention it as is a list way or the flow style. And we have the next one is the nested style. Nested styles start with hyphen space and the key value pair. Okay, this is the nested which is repeating, right? You see this name, where place, name, place. This is nested style. Okay, now let's go to the next topic. Oh, here more examples about the nested mapping. How exactly we can do the nested mapping, right? See parties. I have parties where we have customer details which will be repeated, travel, customer traveled places which might be repeated, and credit cards for one customer, and then it can be repeated. See where you can mention it as the nested tags. Okay, this is yeah the easy, right? Okay, it's not there is nothing special. But here you understand the next topic is on the complex keys. There are some scenarios where we will have complex keys instead of a single word of a key. All right. So when you say the key, it can be like say just first name was one keyword. But what happens if there is a more than one word, right? As a sentence, if you want to use that as a key. Yes, YAML supports that. How it supports with a question mark and the space. So when there is a question mark and space, then YAML starts take that whole thing as a key till colon space comes. Whenever there is a colon space comes till the before that, right? Question mark space till the colon. This takes as a whole thing as a key. You see that the whole thing as a key, and then whatever comes after that, it's a value. Okay, there is one more example. So for complex keys, it uh, question mark space follows whatever key. That's a complex key. Okay, this is about the complex keys. Now let's go to the next one, which is the last topic and very interesting topic, anchors and aliases. So here, the interesting thing, right? Anchors are identified as identified by an ampersand symbol. Alias are identified by a star symbol. The main thing, right? See, before you even see the example, the difference between anchor and aliases, we have to know that. Or one is ampersand symbol, other one is star symbol. See, whatever the value, if we have one object, say in the any technology, right? Any say Java background or any background you come from, right? The object can be reused in other places without repeating typing. Here the same thing. If you have any value which you want to reuse, mention that as an ampersand, and then wherever you want to reuse it, mention that as a star symbol. Okay. Now let's take this an example, right? Say flight schedule. I have flight schedule which say American Airlines. Okay, I want to use these timings in other places. So then put as ampersand time, American Airlines timing, start time, stop, and then United Airlines ampersand symbol because I want to reuse this United timings object in other place, the values basically, right? No, instead of retyping the whole thing. Here I just put two so that for easy understanding, but you can have any number of attributes. Okay, on the Spirit Airlines. Now booking. Let's take the bookings, right? Name person Vijay. He is going by United Timings. So we no need to repeat or type all of these values again, say start, stop, place, and all, right? You can just mention star United Timings. That means when the YAML file comes here, it knows that, oh, okay, it's star United Timings. That means the whole object value should come from the wherever ampersand United Timings is there. Okay, so this is so similarly, right? For name Chatur, American Airlines, you don't need to retype all these values. It understand YAML understand that by seeing the star AA timings one, it looks for ampersand AA timings and then gets those values here. Okay, that's the main thing, and also it will be very important or interesting, so that this reduces, right, lot of retyping and the re typing, right? So and also it uses for the duplication. So tomorrow assume that you want to, there is a time change for American Airlines, you can just come and change in only one place. Okay, you no need to look for, but by default all other places wherever this American Airlines use, the start stop can be reused. Okay, so you see this is an example, right? How it has been reused. But if you see JSON, that option is not there. We are like retyping in all the places. Okay, you cannot reuse it. Okay, now this is the last topic, right? So now we are using anchor tags and the alias values. So what happens? There is other requirement where it came in. I can want to reuse all the anchors, right? But there is some field I want to overwrite it. Okay, or else I want to add a new key value for the same one. So how do you do that? Even that supports by YAML by using less than colon symbol. By using this symbol, we can do that. Okay, let's take this in the same example, right, where we have spirit timings. So I'm reusing spirit timings with star, but the start time I want to override with, instead of 6 a.m. I want to do with 10 a.m. Yes, I can do that. So when YAML sees less than colon symbol, it knows that okay, some of the attributes might be overwritten if the key value matches. If the key value is new, then it becomes as it takes as a new. Now let's see, right? When it becomes the actual value, it becomes the timing. Start is being overridden with, instead of 6 a.m. is 10 a.m. and the location new attribute has been added. So this is the benefit of using the anchor and alias, and then also we can also do the override. I hope I did not. By if you just there is one last thing is, you want to get more on the YAML, you need to start using the website what I said, the YAML to JSON, and start typing it. By following these simple things, right, you will be able to start writing a new YAML configurations without any difficulty. Thanks for listening to my session.